Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Straight Shooting Sports Talk, and I'm your host, Dujanae Bland. We got a lot going on in the world of sports. Got the Wizards and Celtics getting ready to begin in about a few minutes as they're getting ready for tip-off. The NHL is hot and heavy. We'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll also talk a little Redskins as they are getting involved for their first camp as well. So let's get into it, and we will start with
the NBA.
Like I said, the Washington Wizards and the Boston Celtics are kicking off tonight. They are back in Washington as the Wizards looked anything but formidable in the last outing in Game 5 in Boston. And we know that this team, the Washington Wizards that is, has struggled in being able to close out games, especially on the road. They have struggled in many ways in being able to make plays on the road as a road team. They have not been a good team. They were under 500. I believe they were like 19-22 or 23 on the road. And we've talked about it all season. And the bottom line is, if you want to win, and if they want to win and they want a shot at being able to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, it will be imperative for the Washington Wizards to win one on the road. And you can't win on the road when you're allowing your opponent to shoot 61% from the field, or 61 plus. I believe the Wizards in the last matchup were 38-5 field goal percentage. They were 24% from three-point land. Totally abysmal, awful, atrocious. I could find five guys off the street cold that could shoot better than that. And it's a big game, and really was, I wouldn't say a must-win game, but definitely a game you wanted to have. If they could steal one on the road, and as well as the Wizards have played at home, their home record is 30-11. So that tells you how good they are at home. If they were able to do that, we'd be talking about a different story. But now your backs are against the wall. I really do think tonight that they will be able to pull out a formidable win and be able to take this thing back to Boston. But they're going to have to go back to Boston, a place where they do not play well because it is on the road. They're very inconsistent on the road. And it doesn't vote well for you. Now, we know, man, and I hate to be this way, but we all know that Cleveland's just waiting for the next matchup. Boston as well. Golden State as well, waiting for the next matchup. It's inevitable that these two teams meet. Now, I really don't think either the Wizards or Boston are going to be able to give Cleveland a run for their money because both teams are very inconsistent. Again, both teams seem to be very solid at home, not very good on the road. And that's important for any team. You got to be able to steal some on the road. You have to be able to compete on the road. And the Wizards just haven't done a great job of that. But I think they'll win tonight and take it back to Boston, where I don't believe that they can handle. I don't think they can steal one on the road. I think Boston goes on to play the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. And we already have our Western Conference Finals set. Golden State and the San Antonio Spurs. what a game for San Antonio. Boy, feel sorry for the beard, man. The dude just like fell off the planet. Didn't play well at all. And the Spurs win with LaMarcus Aldridge getting 34 points, 12 rebounds, and without Kawhi, cornrows don't lie. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's absolutely amazing, being that this team has suffered some injuries. All their players are not there. But, hey, in the same token, you have to give big ups to Pop. Again, gets these guys to play quite well together. They do an excellent job of making sure that they're doing all that they can and preparing his team to be able to compete. They did that. Many probably would have thought that this game would have completely been a takeover for the Houston Rockets. Not so. They did not lay down, and the Spurs move on to play Golden State, where I think they'll give them a little bit of a run for their money. I don't know how far to go, maybe 6 games, but I think Golden State is going to be in the Western Conference. From the Western Conference, will be in the NBA Finals. So it'll be interesting to play out. Everybody's just waiting for the inevitable, and in the meantime, we'll have these 2 series, and could they both be swept? Possibly, but I'm telling you, the NBA doesn't want that. That's not good for networks and not good for dollars. I think somebody was saying if they do sweep, it would be like a week's layoff before the actual finals start. Yeah, they can't afford that. They want to have that money. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes as that progresses, as the NBA finals progress on. Now let's talk a little bit of ice.
The NHL.
Indeed. So we have the Ducks and the Predators. The Predators and Ducks have faced each other before in the quarterfinals, especially last year. The quarterfinals 4-3. The Predators beat the Anaheim Ducks, and we have Ottawa and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Which brings me to the Washington Capitals. See, I don't want to hear about effort and lack of effort in a Game 7. We're talking about lack of effort in a Game 7 when it's all on the line. The cup is on the line. And to be quite honest with you, if the Caps beat the Penguins, they have an excellent chance, an almost signed, sealed, delivered chance of clinching a cup. And we're talking about effort, right? Lack of effort when it's all on the line. Now, what I saw in the first period or two, that period and a half, I'd say, I think the Caps had given all they could. They fired all their guns. They gave them everything that they had, and they came away with nothing. And then they just died off. Now, I know everybody's pointing the finger at Ovi, but where were the other guys? I mean, no one could handle the puck inside Pittsburgh's territory. No one was able to get clean shots, work to get good shots, and when they had shots, they fumbled with the puck, lost the puck, was unable to execute well enough to have a nice chance to be able to score. Hobie did an excellent job as long as he could, but the guy needed help. And if they had scored a few goals, this whole entire game might have gone differently. But once again, the Capitals get you to the mountaintop, build you up, and get you all excited, and then they let you down. Now, where do the Caps go from here? Who knows? Everybody's saying that that Ovi should be gone, maybe move on, and I think he's a lifetimer here. I think he's a lifetimer with the Washington Capitals, and he has to stay. I think they just need to build more younger, more offensive-minded, younger guys that can score, that can play defense, and Ovi can continue to do what he does. It's been done with other teams, with older guys that have been staples with their teams, and they've just built and got talent put around them. Now, many will say that there were tons of moves that were made for the Capitals, and they were set up and primed to win. And I can't disagree with that. But I think if you're going to disassemble and reassemble, you have to go a lot younger. That's where most of these teams are. Youth is the deal. And it's got to be done. I think they've tried this method that they've been at several years and have missed the mark. But lack of effort in a Game 7? Dude, you get paid. You get paid to do this. This is part of your job. Lack of effort. Very interesting. But it should be an interesting Western and Eastern Conference NHL Finals. And hopefully I'd like to see someone new contend for the Cup. Maybe the Ducks. I'd like to see Ottawa maybe jump up there and sneak past the Pittsburgh Penguins. But we'll see. That's why they play the games. So now we will move on to the NFL, where the Washington Redskins have officially started their off-season rookie camp, mini camp here, and many people are interested in what goes on at a mini camp. It's basically the same thing as the first set of OTAs. There's not a whole lot. You can't do a whole lot of contact. At least that's what they say. That doesn't mean there's not a little bit of contact that goes on. I mean, you've got, I think there was 8 or 9 undrafted free agents that were signed to this team. Then they brought in 37 players who are trying out, looking to get a contract. So things are high. People are very, very focused on trying to, whether they have a contract, they're trying to keep that contract and try to make the team, or they're trying to get a contract and get an opportunity to be able to make the team, whether it's practice squad or the final 53-man roster. But what takes place here is they'll be learning their playbooks. They'll get a chance to learn the facility a bit, being that they haven't had an opportunity to do that. They'll learn a lot about the strength and conditioning, what's expected of them. They'll be spending a lot of time in the playbooks, learning plays, the scheme. They'll learn practice format. They'll learn different drills that they will be doing. And this enables them to get a little bit of a head start before mini camps get going. That's important. You don't want to have guys that are behind the 8 ball that don't really understand what's going on. And you want these guys to be prepared and have their best foot forward, really, so no one gets hurt, first off. And second of all, so you can kind of get in the swing of things and keep the ball rolling and start little by little doing more and more, which it'll be a lot of information for these young guys, but you want to get them ahead of the game, and then they can mingle with their teammates, their veteran teammates who have been here in the system, understand what's going on, and can further help them better understand the playbook, what their assignments are, and how they can really fine-tune what they're being asked to do. So it's going to be a very, very good 3 days. I think there's a lot of different players that have been signed, whether it's some of the late round draft picks and the early round draft picks, or some of the undrafted free agents as well. Lots to look forward to. In these 3 days, and see who's going to shine and who's going to stand out, and who can contribute. I thought the Redskins did an excellent job among all the other three teams in the NFC East. Their drafts were very solid. I don't know about you, but I get the feeling that the NFC East is going to go back to what it used to be. Hard-nosed football, running the football, and tremendous, sound, hard-hitting defense be played. I know the Dallas Cowboys, the division champs, they lost a lot of players. Most of them went to other teams, Ravens, Redskins, etc. But their draft was very good. Gotta like the pick a taco there. They need someone up front that's going to push the pocket, and I think they have a few guys that can mingle in very well. Of course, their linebacking core has really played pretty decent. They got some corners where they need to improve there. But again, and I've said this many times before, you don't have to have great corners and safeties to make a quality defense, but it really is predicated on your front seven and getting pressure on the quarterback, moving him off his spot, or whether he has to step up in the pocket, whether he has to move to the left or to the right. But it's being disruptive, being in that backfield, having a presence back there. If he doesn't have a lot of time, well, there's not going to be a lot of big plays going down the field because he doesn't have the time for those plays to develop. So if you keep everything in front of you and you make sure tackles, that's all you can ask for. And I think you can win ball games. And they've really proven that. Last year, that Dallas defense was ranked 5th in the league. And really, they weren't the most talented defense at all. You have to give Rod Marinelli a lot of credit. The depth was not really there, and they took advantage of that. He took advantage of what he had and made that situation work. And I think that's where the Redskins are going to go as well. Now, they are definitely more talented this year. Coming into 2017 and this season, they are going to be talented from top to bottom, and they now have some quality depth, not just starters, but they have guys that can keep a heavy rotation, keeping guys fresh, keeping the bullets flying, and that's going to help tremendously in being able to get after the quarterback. And of course, we know where they struggled the most, and that was stopping the run, as they allowed 4.5 yards a carry last year. But I thought the NFC East did an excellent job of drafting. And Washington did a good job as well. Again, a deep draft full of defensive talent, and I think they got some real talented players even deep into the draft in the 7th round there, especially with Harvey Clemens, the Valdosta, Lowndes County native. Had an opportunity to see that guy in high school. Pretty interesting to be able to see someone go through the processes and make it into the NFL. It's going to be interesting to see how all these guys play out this weekend, and we'll keep you up to date on Redskins and all things Redskins at the Redskins Wire. That's the redskinswire.usatoday.com. Now to close the show, and before we close the show, I will get into my final shot. And today, my final shot is in reference to Colin Kaepernick. Now, you can have your own take on whether you agree or disagree with his stance during, or lack thereof, during the national anthem during the season. His protest, he has the right to protest. But whether you like it or you do not like it, it is not nearly as egregious as some of the things that we have seen from NFL players, such as Josh Gordon, habitual violator of the league's substance abuse policy. We have Junior Gillette, was in trouble once, got in trouble this offseason in a place probably where he had no business being, getting out of line, arrested. Domestic violence instances where people have been suspended. Yet, Colin Kaepernick has not been involved in any of those things. And yet and still, he does not have a job in the NFL. Now, you can say that he's lost a step, and I will agree with you. He is not the quarterback that took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. But what you can't argue with me on is that guy isn't better than at least 30 quarterbacks, 30 backup quarterbacks in the NFL. And I will say he's at least better than 10 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. And yet, he's not even the third string quarterback on anyone's roster. He is jobless. Now, while we're focusing on the fact that he nailed for that national anthem and whether you like or dislike it, even though that was his right, what about all the wonderful things that he's done in the community? Buying suits for people. You know, doing something that most do not do. That's putting their money where their mouth is. So there's a lot of people that run their mouth about what they're going to do and what should be done, but yet they do nothing. They don't act on it at all. They protest, they make a bunch of noise, and those people I will leave out Jesse Jackson. And yet he's doing something positive in the community. Not to show his face, not to say, look at me, but to create change. This change that he kneeled for the national anthem for his in protest of the lack thereof. So I think it's a egregious thing and very, very sad that Colin Kaepernick does not even have a shot in the NFL, and he should. That's it for our show. If you are not watching the Wizards game, the Wizards are up 16-11, 3:04 and counting left in the first. Boston's up 3-2, and they have to win this game. Well, we thank you so much for listening to the show, and sorry we have been gone, but we're doing some moving around and revamping, and we hope to break that to you next month as some things will be changing around here, and we're excited about it. Moving onward and upward. That's what we like to do. But we appreciate all of you who tune in and listen to the show, whether you listen to it on iTunes after the fact, whether you're listening live now. Thank you so much, because you could be doing anything else, but you're here listening to us, and I appreciate that. If you want to check out my work, you can check out my work at theredskinswire.usatoday.com, where we talk all things Redskins, and soon in June, be back up our site for sportsjourney.com, where you can see my work there on the NFL. Well, enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, and hopefully we'll be back to you on Monday, where we'll talk about whether the Wizards won or lost. We'll break down these Eastern Conference finals, and we'll share some light on some of the news around the NFL with some of these camps that are going on. Again, this has been another edition of Straight Shooting Sports Talk.